and she's here in a foreign land, and her husband dies. Now, it says that her sons then took wives in Moab, and the Israelites frowned on marrying foreign wives, and we know that God didn't want them to do that because of the false religions that the others practiced. They would pollute them, and of course they did, didn't they? All down through Israel's time, that's what happened. They allowed, instead of bringing others to God, seemed like they wanted to go with the others, and that's what normally happens. So here we have the situation where Naomi, and she's probably, as the study guide pointed out, her sons. It doesn't appear that her sons neglected her. Whose responsibility would it be after Elimelech died? It would be the sons, right? It would be their responsibility to take care of Naomi, and they probably did. They probably took care of her. But young couples that just get married, a lot of times they ain't got a whole lot either, do they? So, that may have been a problem. But like we said, things will continue to get worse. Verse 5 says, "Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died. So the woman survived. So the woman survived her 2 sons and her husband. In 10 years' time, and we don't know exactly when. It sounds like probably her husband probably passed away pretty quickly after they got there, and then after some time, her sons also passed away. We're not told what happened. We're not told the circumstances of it. When you get right down to it, it probably doesn't really matter, because Naomi's still going to be in a bad way, isn't she? Is that right? It could be that they were sickly. Could be. Yeah. It's possible that certainly they died of some sickness or some illness. But regardless, we can see the circumstance. Naomi now is with the 2 girls. I call them girls, or they're women, I'm sure. And all 3 of them really have no means. They had no means to provide for themselves. No relatives. The girls had relatives, but normally back then, when a girl and a boy were married, the girls were considered part of the boy's family. They became part of the family, and we will see where that plays out as we go through the rest of the story here. Okay, any question or comment on the first 5 verses here? I hope it ain't mine. Okay, that's Ralph. Okay, that's Ralph's alarm going off. Okay, 3 widows. I actually backed up to verse 6 here. 6 and 7. We'll put them out here too. It says, "Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard in the country of Moab that the Lord had visited his people by giving them bread. Therefore she went out from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, And they went on their way to return to the land of Judah. Now, a lot of times what God would do was when they would fall away from him, God would send a drought or something of that nature. And then when they would return, he would give them rain or whatever they needed there. But whatever the case was here, when they left, there was a famine, and now God had blessed the land, and there was, by giving them bread, it means grain. That was a big part of their diet, was the grain they ate. That was very prevalent. Of course, they raised their sheep and goats, and what do sheep and goats eat, Elmer? What do sheep and goats eat? They eat, but they have to have it too, don't they? Yeah. He probably needed a toothpick. I've seen those, BJ, that are about knee high, and those goats that are about knee high. It's like it's natural in them. One of the things that the study book pointed out also was that it was not necessarily unusual, probably, for these two girls to go with Naomi as she was going back. Rather than saying goodbye to her, they would walk with her for a ways, even if they were not planning on going with her. But of course, I think both of them was planning on going back with her at the time. We say our goodbyes a lot of times at the door, but they probably say their goodbyes after they walked a while. It's a little different when we're getting in a vehicle and going. And with them, they would be walking. Okay, going on with verse 8. And Naomi said to the two daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to her mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant that you may find rest, each in the house of her husband." So she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. Where did Naomi tell her daughter-in-laws to go? Back to their families. Back to their families. We can see from the wording here for the relationship that these three had. It appears that they all three had a good relationship with each other. Naomi was caring about the girls, and they were caring about her. If they were even planning on going back to Israel with her, I mean that was a tremendous decision that they would be making. And Naomi released them to go back to their home, to their mother's house. And I'm sure she was thinking about them and not her. Yeah, she was already Naomi was already old. She probably needed those. She needed the help,
Yeah, I don't know how old she was, but they weren't even on SSI.
No, that would have been her. That would have been her SSI, wouldn't it? Yeah. And as a matter of fact, we won't go over it in the lesson, but Ruth actually was. That's what Ruth did, was went and went into the fields and got grain for them to eat. When she was there. But we can see the emotion here that's involved, and evidently they loved each other. And Naomi wanted the best for them. So she was willing to release them to go back to their home. They probably felt an obligation to her, and she was wanting them to understand that they were not obligated to her. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, not even traveling back. Study guide pointed out, I think he said it was about 70. I forget, about 70 miles. Yeah, approximately 70 miles that they'd be traveling. All of it walking, and take several days to. I think they could normally travel about 20 miles a day is what they figured. So 4 or 5 days of traveling, and who knows what she'd meet, you know. So just traveling would be a problem. Well, verse 10 says, "And they said to her, 'Surely we will return with you to your people.' But Naomi said, 'Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there still sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands?'" The normal process here is if a woman and a man were married and the man died before a child was born, then his brother would take her up as his wife. And the first child that she had would be considered a descendant of the brother that died. And that's what she's inferring here, that she's not going to have any more chances. She doesn't have any more sons to give them. So and once again, these her husband and her sons were their livelihood. Yeah. They had a system where families took care of families. Yeah. That was their system. Yeah. And certainly they depended on each other. Going on with verse 12, "Turn back, my daughters." She's calling them her daughters. She looks at them or thinks of them as her daughters rather than just as daughter-in-laws. "Go, for I am too old to have a husband." We don't know her age, but she considered herself too old to have one. "If I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband tonight, and should also bear sons, would you wait for them until they are grown? Would you restrain yourself from having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me." What did Naomi say was against her? Hand of the Lord. Do we often think that? When things are rough, things go wrong, we shouldn't, but we often do, don't we? Yeah. Now, certainly Naomi here had problems. I mean, she's going through these tragedies. I mean, it's bad enough that her husband died. We can sort of we understand that as we get older that we will us or our spouse will pass away, but we think we should do it before our kids do. That's a natural process. Well, she had to deal with both her sons passing away also, and certainly that that was out of the order of nature normally. Of course, we know those things happen. And certainly she was going through this terrible time of loss. And she felt, at least at this time, that the Lord was against her. I imagine she'd almost given up. sounds like she had almost given up and she didn't want to drag these two girls down with her. You know. Yeah. Yeah. It would hard, and then once again, it shows you the love that she had for them. She didn't want to cause them problems. She was putting their best interest in front, and she didn't want to pull them down. She thought that the Lord, for some reason, was against her. Once again, it doesn't say that the Lord was, it said that's what she thought. Many times we may think that. The Lord's not against us.
You know, people experiencing, serious grief do that a lot of times.
Yes.
You know, even devout Christians or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when you experience terrible loss or a bad sickness or whatever, that's the human nature in it.
Yeah.
That feels that way.
We don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that we need someone to blame, but we don't understand a lot of times, and a lot of times people do blame the Lord.
Especially when something happens to your family.
Yeah,
And people handle things differently. I'm one that if something's going wrong, I want it fixed.
yeah,
I want it fixed yesterday. It's like something's wrong with Vanessa, I gotta fix her. Because it's out of order.
BJ, I know you're serious about that, but that sounded funny. It did.
No, I mean, it's
I know you are. I know you are.
said over something. Or
Yeah.
whatever, I mean, if automatic, I want it fixed. I want it fixed.
Yeah.
The kids are upset. If something happens, I want it fixed. I don't do well in situations where it's like it. So, I see how people can question and, even though we know God's not. I do know, I think
Yeah.
God corrects us,
Oh yeah.
for things,
Yeah.
but as long as we're in this world, sickness and death and things of that nature is gonna hit us.
I think a lot of times we blame God where we should be blaming Satan. He's more apt to cause us trouble than God is. Because he is active. Now, I'm not saying that he necessarily has. I don't know all the power that Satan has, but he is powerful, isn't he? He is powerful, and he's against us. There you go. Yeah. God is not against us. God is for us, but also we live in a world that, since Adam and Eve, sin has entered into it, and it has been deteriorating.
What you
Yeah.
said there, that goes back, that's my favorite verse, Romans 8:31, it tells us, if God is for us,
Who can be against us? Yeah.
we forget that a lot of times.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take him trying to correct us as him being against us.
You're probably right, and that's sort of a that's sort of human nature too, ain't it? When we were kids and our parents were trying to correct us, they wouldn't let me. Won't let me play. Won't let me have fun. You're playing out there in the road. That road's better to play on than the grass.
We didn't understand that then, but
We do now.
what BJ said.
Yeah.
We don't understand some of those things
Yeah.
now, but we
Yeah.
will one day.
And it is true.
I've
In this
seen,
lifetime or not,
I've seen, the change, like I said, I didn't like Dad growing up, did not like him growing up, now he's my best friend.
Yeah.
I realize what he did, and it means something to me when Sis calls me, after being up at school and being around some of the kids and how they're acting now and stuff, and she's like, thank you, and Mom, for raising us the way you did, and I mean,
Because she sees the other side of it, don't she?
Sees it now.
Yeah.
You know, as to before, she was in the same booth
Right.
with me where,
Yeah.
pretty sure she didn't like me too much.
It is important to understand that parents are not supposed to be the best friends with their kids.
And that's God.
Yeah.
I mean, God, He's gonna
God, if He's not going to allow us to, if we're His child, He's not going to allow us to keep going down the wrong road without consequences. I think.
And why do parents and God do that?
Yeah.
For our own benefit.
Because they love us. Yeah. They love us. And that's true. Yeah. And of course, that's a huge subject, you know.
Oh, yeah. That's the main sum of John 3:16.
Yeah.
Why did God do it?
Yeah. He and it's why He does a lot of things, isn't it? Yeah. Because He loved us. Yeah. Okay, so Naomi here saying that really what she's saying is, girls, there's no future for you with me. You had no future. Now, Naomi doesn't know what God's plan is. She doesn't know how things will work out. She can only see, like we can, the present. And a lot of times I think we need to put faith in God, don't we? During these times when things are bad, we need to put our faith in God and realize that maybe God does have a plan, something that I need to keep going, keep my faith up, keep my hope up. Okay, going on with verse 14. It says, then they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And she said, look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. Ruth holding on to Naomi, wouldn't let her go. I can picture it, can't you? Picture it, her crying and holding on and probably breaking Naomi's heart, because you know how it is when you love someone and you know that they would be better to do something else, and she's trying to get her to go back with her sister-in-law to her people because she feels she would have a better life there. And these two verses here, as the study guide pointed out, are really touching, and it kind of gives us an idea of the feelings that they have for each other. It says, but Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you, or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Now, I think even that first part there is important. The Moab, they had all kinds of gods.
Well, that was the sad
Yeah.
part about Orpah leaving them, she's going for that back to her God.
Back to her gods, yeah. But once again, Naomi felt that she would be better off physically, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, although, again, you talk about marrying out of different tribes, I've heard that equated with race.
Yeah.
No interracial. It's not talking about that.
No.
Without, it's talking about the religion.
It's yeah, it is, and it's never worded the way you worded it there. But it is. God does say that we need to. If you're a Christian, that's how we need to marry, isn't it?
Marry any tribe.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the race.
No.
It's because of the religion part of it.
Now, God wanted the Israelites not to intermarry with the foreigners, but the reason was that they would forsake him. And a lot of times that's what happens today when a Christian marries a non-Christian. You know?
That's what happened to Samson.
Yeah,
King Saul.
that's what happened to Samson. That's exactly right.
And Samson's, disobedience wasn't just, Delilah. He ate from the carcass, ate the honey from the carcass.
Yeah.
It was unclean.
Well, he's the first one that he didn't marry, but he was going to. I think she was yeah.
Yeah, and that's what, I think a lot of times we have that same mindset as a kid, see how far you can take it.
Yeah.
Samson really did that with God, see how far he could take it. And when push came to shove, Samson was in trouble. And, God let him sweat a little bit.
Well, it cost him his life, didn't it?
But, God made him sweat a little
Yeah.
bit, but
He was still able to at the end to be faithful to God. Going on to verse 17, where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. That's commitment, isn't it? Discussion question here at the end of the lesson said, what lessons can we learn from Ruth's loyalty to Naomi? When you read those two verses, you see her commitment.
Well, I think too,
Yeah.
kind of stemming from that previous verse, she's seen that Naomi's ready to give up.
Yes. Yes.
And, because Naomi, that's what, a lot of times, like if a car is on fire or
Yeah.
Somebody's drowning, I'll help you out, but I'm going to stay, because it's too late. That's where Naomi's mindset is. It's too late for me.
Yeah.
I'm too old. You go on ahead and move on.
Don't let me drag you down.
Yeah, but Ruth, sees a different side of it. She says, you're stuck with me.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and that comes out of the love that they had, that she had especially for her. I'm sure that Ruth thought it's going to be rougher for me to do this, because we know what happened. She ended up supporting, didn't she? Supporting Naomi for a while, anyway. Of course, Naomi gave her some pretty good advice. Which this doesn't get into. But anyway,
Kind of beyond hospice, the loyalty of that.
I think too, a lot of times when we read this, is this not what the Lord wants us to do to Him? Is this not what God wants us to do? This is total commitment, is what this is. She is totally committed to Naomi, regardless of what it cost, regardless of the hardships she's going to have to endure. And the Lord told us we need to commit to Him, didn't He?
She's going to be there till death, and God will be with her until the end also.
That's right. That's right. Okay, it says, when she saw that she was determined to go with her, she stopped speaking to her. Naomi just, she said, well, enough's enough, I guess. So, ain't no need to make them mad. Ain't no need to have a fight about it, are they? If she ain't gonna do it. So she let it go. Now the two of them went until they came to Bethlehem. And it happened when they came to Bethlehem that all the city was excited because of them. And the women said, is this Naomi? But she said to them, do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara. For the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. Question 6, what did Naomi tell the people of Bethlehem to call her? What does that mean? It's in the book there. Means bitter. Bitter. And Naomi's name means pleasant. Naomi felt bitter, didn't she? She felt bitter because of all the things that she had lost. I went out full, she says, and the Lord has brought me home again empty. Now, she's still blaming the Lord. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. Now they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Well, you know, when they left because of what? Because of famine, drought, famine, yeah. And they come back and just at the right, perfect time. Amazing how God planned that, ain't it? See, that plays into what happened later on, doesn't it? Naomi sends Ruth out to the fields to glean the fields because God had told the Israelites that they were to leave some. They were to leave some for the poor.
You ever
Yeah.
see stuff like that happen in your own life? 'Cause I do.
I think we do, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I really do. I've been several times where, wonder how this bill was going to be paid or how we was going to have something work out because of, people's schedules or this
Yeah.
or that or whatever, and it'll work itself out,
And, a lot of times when those things happen, I think God's active, isn't he? Yeah. God's active. Yeah. God will provide. He wants us to do our part. And he'll do his part. Well, we don't have time to go over part 3. That's the best part. Why is part 3 good? Part 3 is good because that's when her and Boaz get together, isn't it? Go ahead and read the rest of it if you've not already. I'm sure you probably have. But read the rest of it. Of course, as we said earlier, the thing that makes this important is because Jesus was in this lineage. Jesus was in the lineage. Have any question or comment on our study? Okay, we do appreciate each of you coming out. If you have someone to put on the prayer list, fill you out a card and put it in the offering, and we'll make sure those names get added.